Good afternoon, or whenever it is you're watching this video, and welcome back to Crazy Creations. This video was born out of my love for both franchises respectively, and I figured it would be fun to make this video. I don't really have a story for these drawings, so I will be adding some design notes at the end to fill in some of the gaps, if necessary. I would also like to mention that I know multiple YouTubers, including Night of Arcane, have already made a video like this, but I have made sure that my concept is slightly different. Otherwise, please enjoy the video. Peter B. Tennyson was your average 10-year-old kid sitting in his last lesson of the semester, hoping wholeheartedly that the cursed bell that had plagued most of his year was finally about to ring. The first semester so far had been nothing but grueling, with both bullying from JT and Cash as well as the mountains and mountains of homework he still needed to complete. He honestly was unsure if he was going to survive. Lucky for him, he actually managed to. 10 minutes before the bell was about to ring, Ben was eyeing the clock and was about ready to start moving. When the bell finally did ring, Ben yanked his bag, shoved his books inside, and marched as quickly as he could to the door. Unfortunately for him, once he finally got out the door, the teacher called him back inside. He then proceeded to receive a full-on 5-minute lecture on what he did wrong during the first semester, and if his grades kept up the way they were, he was gonna have to go to summer school, and that was the last thing he wanted. He then proceeded to walk out the door to find his same bullies, JT and Cash, bullying another kid with glasses. Peter, thinking himself some sort of hero, decided to walk up to them and tell them to stop. Guess how that ended. 5 minutes later, his grandpa came up in the RV looking for him and found him in the very same tree the kid with glasses was hanging from. Peter's grandfather called out, saying that they were going to be late. When Peter finally got out of the tree, he managed to get into the RV to find his grandfather waiting for him, as well as his cousin. The two of them were arguing and arguing throughout the entire trip, only ever being broken apart by their grandpa Manny. When they finally got to the campsite, it was already dark and the moon was shining above. Grandpa Manny thought it would be a good idea to sit with the kids and talk about their school, so he sent them to go get some firewood to start a campfire. Peter and his cousin then proceeded to wander off into the woods. They decided to pick up whatever twigs or sticks they could find lying across the ground and were bickering, obviously, while doing it. Assaults were shot back and forth until Peter just decided to go wander off deeper into the forest by himself. His cousin didn't protest, thinking that he was going to be alright, when this honestly was an incorrect assumption. In a way, at least. Minutes into walking into the forest by himself and picking up sticks and twigs and whatever, what seemed like a shooting star flew by Peter's head. It had almost crushed him and seemed to be still moving toward him. He then noticed what seemed to be like a glowing red spider had leaped towards him. He tried blocking with his hand, but the spider just landed on that and started searing into his skin due to what had been presumed to be increasingly hot temperatures. When it finally stopped, he noticed that there was a silvery device now attached to his left arm. Oddly enough, this same device was shaped like a spider, the same one that had attacked him. In a way, this device was more flat, more clean, and resembled some sort of armband wristwatch thing. Peter obviously started freaking out. He didn't know what was happening, what to do, or what he was going to tell his parents when he got back home with a new device, seemingly seared to his flesh. However, his curiosity got the better of him. He started fiddling with the device, trying to figure out how it worked. Maybe that would be a way to get it off. Again, maybe. Then proceeded to press a button in the center of the top side of this new accessory of his. That, however, seemed to do something. A glowing green screen of sorts then appeared on the device with a selected figure on it. He didn't really know what to do from here, so he did the logical thing. He pressed on the icon that was currently selected. He then seemed to grow to twice his height, and his clothes were covered in like a nanite-like material that formed into new clothing. This new clothing seemed to be red with a strange luminescent yellow webbing to it, and a bright white and gray spider on its chest. Similar to the same spider that had been attached to his wrist moments earlier. Now with this character, I honestly originally struggled with the pose more than anything, and I sort of just had to make it work because I was tired and didn't want to draw it again, and the deadline and everything. Like, I'm new to YouTube, guys, so I don't know what I'm doing at all. But overall, I'd say that this design was actually pretty unique, pretty nice, came out to the better end of whatever I was trying to do with this one. And yeah, with the legs, as you can see, I just decided to make it like a couple of lines, and then putting a line in between the thigh to show that like a separation, and then I colored the one side black, the other side white. You'll see in the finished product. And with the head, I decided to put like a little collar thing, sort of. And my main inspiration for making this one was purely Ben Reilly Spider-Man. Ben Reilly was not Spider-Man. Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider. So yeah, I wanted to give it some elements of Ben Reilly Spider-Man while also giving it sort of like somewhat of a advanced technology sort of vibe to it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I hit the mark on that or what, but I ultimately like the final result. And you know what? Let's get to it now. Peter was a little surprised and confused, and while analyzing his new figure, form, and suit, he noticed that his head was on fire. He started panicking, rolling around the ground, doing whatever he can to snuff it out, just to realize that it didn't really do anything to him. So he just sat there thinking what to do now. Then noticed something that appeared like a hole in his rocky gauntlet like thingamajigs, and decided that he would just, try to see what that does. After a while, he figured out that he could shoot a thin magmatic string-like substance that could stick to and basically blow up objects that it came into contact with, but the blow up part was on command. He then was ecstatic. He has always wanted superpowers, to be some sort of hero that can help people, get all the girls, get money, be famous, all the classic hero stuff that he believed that he needed to be a hero. Until he noticed that he was burning down the forest. Now he was back to panicking. He was running around, trying to put out the fire the best he could, but seemed to just make it worse, seeing that he was literally just made of fire, it seemed. This just led him to think, what am I gonna do? Where is Grandpa? I need him now more than ever. And then, unfortunately for him, his cousin came along instead. When she saw him, she was like, "Who are you? Are you the one who started this fire? I'm gonna call the police." Peter tried to explain himself, but she wasn't having any of it and just decided to open the fire extinguisher she had and, just put him out. This just ended up annoying him, and he just yanked the fire extinguisher out of his cousin's hands and then said, "Stop it being annoying, you dweeb." Some way, somehow, his cousin realized that she was talking to Peter. After this revelation, the two of them decided to work together to put out the fire. Sooner or later, the grandfather actually showed up. He was rather old and couldn't move that fast, that far. So he had to take a longer time to get to the fire than his granddaughter. After Peter's situation was explained to Grandpa Manny, the good old grandfather came up with a plan to sort out the whole fire. He suggested that they start a new one to fix the old one, if that made any sense. Peter then ran deep into the woods, started another fire, this time on purpose, and then ran away with his grandpa and cousin to see if their plan would actually work. Luckily it did, and they could get back to their campfire and figure out what was happening to poor old Peter. Eventually, he just turned back out of nowhere. Green flash, and he was back from fiery super person with a spider on his chest to regular old Peter Tennyson. They decided to take a victory wherever they could find it, and told Peter not to use the watch or whatever it was until morning so that they could figure it out together. Guess what Peter did? Completely ignored the advice. While everyone else went to bed, Peter went behind the RV. He activated it the same way he did before, but then found a way to see if to choose another silhouette. He activated the watch again by pressing the screen and then found himself that his body transformed once again. This drawing was just fun to make. Tennyson found that this time, instead of turning into a smoky, fiery super person, he turned into an orange-clad, short-ish, muscle-bound hero. He realized that he couldn't see a thing, seeing as the mask was covering his face, but then found out that he could navigate using his other senses, such as his smell and hearing. Without hesitation, he leapt off the ground with immense force, clung to a tree with his hand, and then pulled himself up, launching himself high into the air, bathing himself in moonlight. He was once again ecstatic. He didn't really know what to do with it, of course, but he was just happy and just excited in the moment that he actually had superpowers, genuine, bona fide superpowers. He knew in that moment that anyone would have wanted the same as him. That was until he realized he was being followed by some sort of frisbee-like drone. He noticed its presence when it actually tried shooting at him, some sort of laser, and then realized that there were multiple of them. He figured out how to make another thin strand of something come out of his wrist, but this time it was white. He shot one of these things at the drones, pulled it towards himself, but found it was a little too difficult, and instead pulled himself towards it. He went with this motion, kicking it out of the sky with whatever force he could, almost wrecking it in the process, using the momentum from the drone's explosion to launch himself towards the next and the next and the next. In this process, he learned that this suit of his also had claws, which he wasn't expecting, but he didn't really care. He was just having a blast, tearing into these drones like they were paper mache. Sooner or later, he noticed that there was some sort of giant, bigger android thing in the distance, and figured he wasn't going to be able to defeat it with the current suit he has on. So he snuck back to the RV to tell his grandpa and his cousin what he learned and to ask for their help with the threat at hand. When he got back to the RV, he immediately turned back to normal, which surprised him, seeing as last time it took him much longer to do so. He then rushed into the RV to notice that his grandpa and cousin were actually waiting for him, clearly having noticed his absence and his use of the device. After explaining what he had seen, what he had done, and in general how he felt, he somehow persuaded his grandpa and cousin to actually accompany him to this campsite where the drone was actually wreaking havoc. The android, rather, was wreaking havoc. After a 5-minute drive, they reached the campsite, and Ben got to work. He activated the watch, selected a new silhouette of something that he perceived to be strong enough to take down this giant robot thing, transformed, and simply just swang into action. He managed to thwip another string-like thing, this time a crystally sort of material, and you managed to guide the robot's hand away from the bystanders and to crash into its own body. The android wasn't phased, but did stare daggers down at Ben. When Ben landed, he noticed that he was following him with his gaze and realized that it was kind of actually staring at the symbol on his chest. This was confusing, but he of course didn't stop trying to fight the thing because it was a giant robot trying to kill people. The android then shot a laser at Peter, and Peter naturally just dodged. He ran forward out of the way of the blast and then just whipped into a web swing, trying to disorient or tangle the robot up while wrapping around it. This didn't really seem to work because the robot just caught him mid-swing and held him there. The robot then proceeded to increase the grip he had on Ben, squeezing him almost as if trying to pop his head off. This didn't really work because then Ben just, I don't know, somehow learned to eject 4 crystallic spider legs out of his back, wrecking the robot's hand, and landing down safely on the ground. The robot then proceeded to try to shoot him with a laser again. Peter would have dodged, but he was in front of a trailer full of a family that didn't manage to move fast enough to get their trailer out of there in time. So Ben decided to block, seeing as the spikes had actually destroyed it. Using 6 of his limbs, he blocked the blast and actually redirected the laser somewhere else. This gave Peter an idea. Jumping into web swing once again, he started swinging around the creature, but leaving gaps open enough for the creature to try and shoot lasers at him. This way, he would, reflect the lasers back at it, doing subtle bits of damage to it as the fight progressed. This went on and on and on with Peter's grandpa and cousin escorting people out as quickly as they could when he decided that there were enough people gone that he could try something dangerous. He landed in front of the robot with it being battered and bruised from its own lasers and claw swipes, that he waited for it to shoot one last beam. This time, he reshaped his hands and arm leg thingies into a reflective bowl-like material. So when the laser fired, it was shot right back at the robot. Once the robot was severed in 2, Ben decided to flee the scene immediately because he never knew when the watch would turn back. So he got out of sight, got to the RV, waited for his grandpa and cousin, and they all left, leaving Ben with the satisfying victory of defeating an enormous android. Now I'm gonna try and keep this short and quick because the video's almost over, but this one honestly gave me a few headaches, especially with the legs. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.